Good morning to you. Mark Stott of HurricaneTrack.com here, Thursday now, the 12th of October, 2023. And on today's update, we're going to talk about watching these lowriders. Yes, what is that? Well, I think it makes sense. You get these low-latitude tracking systems. Sean is one of them. That's a depression now, but the energy is still there. And then we have Invest Area 94L to the south of the Cabo Verde Islands. And all of that energy could end up over in the Caribbean Sea over the next week to 10 days, and the pattern looks like it's going to start to become favorable, and we need to watch this for the potential of late season, late October development. And then we'll end the update today with a very interesting AI generated photo. You're going to love it. All right? A little positivity for you out there, something kind of cool. First of all, National Hurricane Center homepage, Sean is a depression. Yeah, it's battling climatology. This area out here is not supposed to be favorable this time of year, and other than the water temperatures being exceptionally warm, it's really not that favorable. So no surprise that Sean's back to depression status, and it may not do very much over the next few days, and it could just dissipate as it moves northwest across the Atlantic. Then we've got Invest Area 94L, and of course that's the one that is part of today's thumbnail graphic and title card. Now this one may not do very much for quite a while, but again, it's a piece of energy. I'll show it to you in just a minute in more detail, and it could very well end up in this vicinity in about a week to 10 days, and then over here beyond that time frame. And this is the area right through here, I'll highlight it in red now, that is very favorable this time of year. Climatology definitely plays a role, and it's going to enter that region during a time period when we normally would expect something to develop if the energy is there and the upper level winds cooperate. Whether or not something happens, of course, remains to be seen. All right, a few things to point out. First of all, we got this non-tropical area of low pressure, and boy, overnight it really created some problems for our friends along the west coast of Florida. I was getting text messages from our good friend and colleague CJ, and I want to show you one of the attachments that he sent in one of those text messages. That's where CJ was. This is radar scope, of course, and this thing moved in. It's a supercell. This is what you expect to see out over the Great Plains during the spring. This moved in off the Gulf. This is another view from our friends at Fox Weather, and look at this. They posted this tweet a couple hours ago or whatever it was. And yeah, this was a water spout over the ocean, the Gulf, and then it made landfall there near Clearwater. And I mean, it did. It made landfall and became a tornado. Look at the power flashes in there. If you haven't seen this, this is very dramatic, and it's frightening because this stuff happening at night. Look at that. I mean, man, I would have just, like, that's a nightmare. It really is. And this type of pattern, going back to the satellite animation here, CJ and I talked about this earlier in the summer about how warm the Gulf is and the El Nino. You get that subtropical jet moving across, and any of these disturbances that can come down and kick things off, these non-tropical storm systems could become pretty problematic throughout the winter. So we're going to have to watch this in the Florida Peninsula area, not just at the coast, but inland as well. We have a lot of friends down here of our project, a lot of viewers on YouTube, so just keep that in mind. Just wanted to make you aware, not trying to scare you, that's not my job, but just these El Nino patterns with a very warm water source, which is energy, could set the stage for more of what we saw here last night throughout the winter coming up. All right, the fall and the winter, right? So maybe a preview of what's coming. Mid-latitude storm system up here, or high latitude. It's in the mid-latitudes. There's another one up there in the high latitudes, getting all kinds of, subtropical and high latitude storm systems. But down in the tropics, it's business as usual. There is Sean, so we'll put an S there. This is 94L, and it is this energy right here. I'm not worried about Sean, but I think this is going to try to make it across, and the modeling is typically agreeing with that. And we're going to have to really watch it as it gets into this region more than a week out. Now, that's a long way, so we'll have to revisit this in a few days. I'll be gone to Texas starting later today. I'll talk about this at the end briefly for the eclipse, the annular eclipse, so I won't be doing updates tomorrow or Sunday or Saturday, Friday, so whatever. The next 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no updates. Then when we get to Monday, I'll be back in the office, and let's see where things are. Now, before we get to that point, I do want to make mention that this storm system here that brought all that shenanigans to Florida, this is going to pass into the Atlantic, and our friends in Bermuda, I think you're going to have a heck of a time of it tomorrow, and I'll show you more as to why I think that when we get to the modeling here in just a few minutes. So there's all that energy. It's stretched out, but I think it's going to try to bundle more. And again, our friends in Bermuda, we got a few friends over there, plus the people that we don't know, right? We got to look out for that island group. It's not just one island. But yeah, we got to watch, because I think this is going to try to bundle up. Might even get mentioned from the National Hurricane Center, but I think it's going to remain, and this is just a classification thing, non-tropical, but whatever. I think it's going to still bring gusty winds, very heavy rainfall, very squally, and a little bit cooler overall because it is a non-tropical system. There's Sean. There's that low latitude energy that's 94L, and it's this one right here that we have to watch over the next week to 10 days. And I say that, you think about, oh, we don't watch things a week out or whatever. Well, this isn't going away, and we're going to have to deal with it at some point, possibly. And a big reason, a big red flag almost literally here, water temperature still well above normal in the Caribbean Sea, especially the Northwest Caribbean, much of the Gulf of Mexico, and then there's the signature of our El Nino sitting out here. But notice, just kind of picked up on this, it's kind of in these little chunks here. You got areas between where the water temperatures aren't quite as warm, and it's not all solid. Anyway, the El Nino is going to come and go, and we'll deal with the ramifications of what all that means later. But right now, I am curious as to what happens in this area in about a week's time. So the stage could be set. And the Euro, I think it's really on to something here. It's pretty reliable. And, a lot of people say that. Well, unless the Euro shows it, I don't really care about it or whatever. They don't believe it. Well, let's take a look at what the Euro was showing last night. This is the system that has brought this is from, 0Z. That's when it was initialized. So this is all moved out since then. But this is a 0Z run of the Euro. So let's put this into motion. All that energy gets out into the Atlantic. And then right there, that's Bermuda. Right there, 32 and 64, right? And look what the Euro does. It really bundles that energy in there. Let's look at it down at the surface. 991 surface pressure, so a non-tropical. Look, it goes right over Bermuda. I'm sure Howard's just like, oh, joy. But yeah, look at some of those wind gusts in there. This is 10-meter wind. All right, so the greens and yellows, we're talking greater than 34 knots. And Bermuda, of course, does have some higher elevations. So this one's going to be pretty windy in the vicinity of Bermuda, and then it goes on past and tries to strengthen there. Really going to be interesting to see how well it can organize. Does it become a subtropical storm? That is possible, where it has some tropical characteristics and some mid-latitude storm characteristics. All right, let's go back to the vorticity signature, though, because I want to keep moving this out into time. That system goes on, and then keep your eyes on this area right here, because 94L is going to enter the picture here after a few days' time. There it comes, and yes, this is a week out, but it's a pretty big signal. Look, there's another piece of energy right there, a tropical wave. You can see that signature in the modeling here, but a week out, there's 94L, that low rider, right, coming in at a low latitude. Barbados, the windwards as a whole, you got to watch this, because remember, it does not take, and I'm going to remind you this, if I do this job for another 50 years, I could be so lucky, I'm going to always remind you, it doesn't take a Category 5, a Category 1, doesn't even have to have a name. The only name that you need to remember, or term, is impact. What will be the impact from something like that? That is an organized weather system. I want to hammer this point home. Remember, that could bring very heavy rain, and that rainfall is all it takes with some of these areas, and you can get some flash flooding, loss of life, destruction of property. So just keep keep this in mind. It's coming from the east in about a week's time, potentially. It's still a week out, 8 days, whatever. Then it gets into the eastern Caribbean, and we're at day 10. Pretty big trough dug in, potentially. This is all way out. And then this system is lurking here. Does the trough lift? This is able to keep on coming into this area, find a better environment. I'm speculating, but that's how these things happen. This is how you get there. All right? It's not made up. We do have the feature. We just go back to this somewhere real quick. That right there, that's what we have to watch. It's going to end up over here potentially in a week, and we need to watch it from there very, very closely. GFS is in fairly good agreement on the same thing. Let's run this out to the 10-day time frame as well. Just interesting to see, do they match up? And generally speaking, yes, they do. All right, the details, we'll figure all that out, of course. But 10 days from now, things could be looking rather interesting and not in a particularly positive way for the Eastern Caribbean. All right, also, I saw this on, this is a graphic from Tropical Tidbits. Somebody had posted it on Twitter. I don't remember who it was. My apologies. It's okay. I can't cite everybody. But this is the EPS, the Ensemble Prediction System, the bulk shear basically, and it's valid out at 360 hours. And I know, again, long ways out, but these are big puzzle pieces, okay? And I think the constant here, strong subtropical jet right through here. That's going to be a fairly persistent feature. Basically, the El Nino is helping to generate this. Then, in the deep tropics, very unusual to see this type of pattern here. These blues are very favorable upper-level winds from Africa. Are you kidding me? All the way across into the Caribbean. Now, of course, if anything were to develop and it gets up near this, it'll be shredded. But things can change. We're going to need to watch this. This is a great product from Tropical Tidbits, so we'll revisit this as well on Monday. I'll make a mental note and a note on my iPhone, right? A reminder. And we'll look at this and see if it's changed much by the time we get to Monday, a few days away. Finally, check this out. That's pretty neat. One of our back-end team members created this using, I don't remember exactly which of the AI generative image generator things that he was using, but he's done a bunch of stuff over on our Discord on the back end that some of it's just jaw-dropping. Like, I've said this on Twitter recently. I posted one of his images that he created. I was like, I feel like I'm dreaming, but I'm fully awake. This stuff, this generative AI, like, oh my goodness. But hyperbolic reminder, because we're not getting a total solar eclipse. That's what that would look like. You got the corona and everything there and the little diamond effect. And, the skinnier version of me there, I guess, leaning out, filming the wrong way. Anyway, with the flaming Toyota Tacoma. Yeah. A reminder, though, a good shock value, whatever. Clickbait, right? I should make this the thumbnail. We'd get a lot more views, wouldn't we? Not going to go there. But yes, the annular eclipse is coming up. No, it's not going to look like that. But that's this weekend. I will be in Texas. I'll be in Texas tonight, in fact. And then get into place tomorrow. Got to pick up some equipment from one of our friends over in Weatherford. And a real good guy. His name's Jeff. And he stores some stuff for us. And we just got a great network of people all across the Western Hemisphere, really. And that helps to do what we do. And I want to be ready because I'm taking several camera systems, a few GoPros, a DSLR, Canon camera I got the filter on it to try to get that look, that orange ball. And then the moon moves in front, trying to time-lapse the whole thing. But the good thing is it's going to be nice and clear in Midland, Odessa, where I am going. So thumbs up for that, and fingers crossed that we have a spectacular show. And then that helps get us ready, a little dress rehearsal, for the total solar eclipse, which is what that will look like. Not as big in the sky, but pretty dramatic. I saw the one in 2017, and we'll be looking forward to that again next April the 8th. All right, so let me get this online for you, and then I'm going to get ready to head up to Raleigh. Too expensive to fly out of Wilmington sometimes, even just to Dallas. Anyway, that's a story for another podcast or whatever, right? You guys have a great rest of your Thursday. I'll see you next from the Lone Star State. From all of us at Hurricane Track, including the AI generating group of people there, we appreciate you watching. I'll see you again from Texas.